Hello, hello, my friends. And surprise, surprise, I decided to come on live today and give this a whirl here. I have some ideas that I want to implement for the fall season for my YouTube channel here. And so I wanted to experiment with seeing how it goes with doing my weekly energy updates in a live streaming format, which gives me more time to upload more pre-recorded content. So I didn't pre-announce that I was going to go live today. This is definitely like super spontaneous. So I'm not expecting that a lot of you are going to be joining me in this actual live. But if you do happen to catch it, let me know what you think about the idea of me doing my weekly energy updates in the live streaming format compared to the pre-recorded format. I'm also feeling that it gives us all an opportunity to connect on more personable levels, which I love. So just let me know what your ideas are, what you think about it. So as usual, we're going to take a look at what's going on astrologically this week, starting with today, September 18th, and ranging all the way up through the 24th. We do have a pretty significant week going on in the way that we had the last quarter moon happened yesterday in the sign of Gemini. And so we're in a waning energy for the rest of this coming week up until the new moon that we have on the 25th. But we also have 6 planets retrograde. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today and the big picture of what that means before we get into specifics. And then as usual, I'm also going to be incorporating some tarot cards as well and some additional messages that come through that. So let's first talk about what does it mean that we have these 6 planets retrograde right now. So we've got Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, all retrograde. So for those of you who are new to astrology, when a planet goes retrograde, that's our astrological term that we use to describe the appearance of a planet moving backwards in its orbit. It's not literally moving backwards. It just appears to be moving backwards from our view here on the Earth. And so when planets go retrograde, what that means for us astrologically is that it's a time of slowing down a little bit, a time of allowing more spaciousness in our lives. It's a time of internal reflection, re-evaluation, reconsidering, things of that nature. So it is a really good time for gaining clarity and insight on the inner planes, which sets the space for more of like a driven action or activity as planets are going direct again. So when we have a Mercury retrograde, and right now the Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Libra, I talked a little bit about this last week. It brings considerations around partnerships. So this can be connected to our own relationship with ourselves, any type of relationship that's significant or important to us. And it's a time where our thoughts move in the direction of how can we optimize harmony? How can we optimize harmony with our relationship with ourselves and our loved ones, people nearest and dearest to us? So Jupiter retrograde, which is in the sign of Aries right now, Jupiter is the planet that is connected to expansion, good fortune, growth, evolution. And because it's related to Saturn, it also is connected to philosophical ideas, spiritual awarenesses even. So when Jupiter is retrograde, it brings our awareness to like what our bigger picture is for ourselves, our bigger sense of, what our highest and best timeline is, which of course is also connected to that Uranus North Node conjunction that we still have going on. So that's feeding into this Jupiter retrograde, and Aries is feeding into that theme right now. Saturn retrograde, which is in the sign of Aquarius right now. Saturn has to do with all things that have to do with responsibilities, maturity, obligations. And so when Saturn is retrograde, it brings our awareness to our self-responsibilities around our self-growth. But in Aquarius, as it is now, it also brings our awareness to our sense of responsibility for the collective. How are we contributing to our lives in ways that serve not only our own bigger picture, highest path, but lending our expression to what can bring more expansive and light to the collective. Now we've also got Uranus retrograde. Uranus has been at play for many months now because it's connected to the Uranus North Node conjunction that we've had going on. So my intuitive take on this, and I'm going to invite you to all contribute whatever your perspectives or takes are on what I'm talking about today in the comment section if you would love. But when Uranus is retrograde, on one level, I feel that it right now is giving us that opportunity to begin integrating some of the awarenesses that we've gained because of that Uranus North Node conjunction in the sign of Taurus. Uranus always brings in new developments. It's the energy of changeability, but it's also independence, uniqueness, individuality. So Uranus retrograde on an inner plane levels inspires us to really boost our sense of connection to our own uniqueness and individuality. So this is something that's at play right now as well this week. In fact, all 6 of these planets that are retrograde right now are going to be retrograde until the first few days of October. So for the rest of this month, these energies that I'm introducing us to now are in effect, which is why I wanted to talk about them, because they're going to be unfolding and impacting us for the next few weeks. We have Neptune in Pisces. I talked about this last week also. Neptune is the planet that has to do with things that are connected to our sense of connection with the unseen realm, the realm of spirit, our intuition. It's also creativity, dream time. Being in the sign of Pisces impacts all of those energies even more because Pisces is connected to all of those same energies. Neptune is one of the rulers of Pisces. So we still have that influence of where we're all seeking to connect with our higher self as well as we're moving through these next few weeks. And then Pluto retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. Pluto is transformation. It's cycles of birth, life, death, regeneration, and in Capricorn can have very tangible impacts in the way of physically manifesting things. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit because of an aspect that we have going on with Pluto today and tomorrow and over the next few days. But I wanted to start by just talking about these retrogrades because, again, this energy is bringing us all a little bit more inward. It encourages us all to not only slow down, but think of it as just having a little bit more of an energy of spaciousness in our lives. Because of the nature of these retrogrades with other aspects that are happening, it really is a time of changeability. It's a time where we've already been dealing with a lot of, change, options, opportunities to explore and to consider. But the way that the energies are showing up this week, it's like right when we thought we knew what we were doing, there's a whole other layer of opportunities to consider. So we really want to allow spaciousness. We want to allow ourselves permission to feel into our intuitive senses, which that Neptune and Pisces is really going to help us with. And one of the key components that I'm really tuning into here is about the idea of being lucid in our awareness. I feel like these retrograde planets are supporting us all in having a more lucid awareness, which can be seen as a depth of spiritual discernment oriented perception. And so it actually is better, especially because Mercury is retrograde, to not be exhausting ourselves, sort of racking our brains to come up with the answers, the information that we're looking for, but be more in our lucid awareness. Think mind, body, and spirit. What's my mind informing me of? What's my intuitive intelligence bringing into my awareness? And what's the wisdom of my body? How is my consciousness of my soul speaking to me through the wisdom of my body, which is another aspect of that Pluto in Capricorn as well? For example, does my body feel a sense of ease within it when I think about this particular possible pathway or another, or do I feel constricted? And pay attention to those things, because ease, flow is definitely a good indicator that yes, this is aligned, keep exploring this direction. But anything that feels like a constriction energy is definitely your body's way of saying, no, not yet, not right now, don't go this way. So we've all been experiencing these energies in our own unique ways based on however these energies are impacting your personal natal chart. But we're all in this collectively together, including myself. I've got a lot of changes in the air. Some of you know that I just recently moved into a new place a few months ago, back in April. And then there was this big flood at my healing center in that building, and everybody, all the attendants in that building had to evacuate. And I'm still in the process of finding a new location for my center, which I think I do have dialed in, and will be pursuing that over the next few weeks. And in the meantime, I've been seeing my in-person clients at my retail boutique in Uptown Sedona. So for those of you who are subscribers, in case you didn't know, and if you're planning on visiting Sedona, I do have, my husband and I own a retail boutique in Uptown Sedona. It's called Alcon Bazaar, and we specialize in world imports. We especially import things from Egypt because my husband is from Egypt. And so anyway, we've got a lot of really cool things, and I'm seeing my clients there for now. You can always stop in to say hi, to see me. I always put the link of our store in the description below, because all of the jewelry that I wear on these videos is always from our store. So I put a link in the video description so that you can check that out. So if you want to find out our address, you want to stop in and say hi when you're in town, I definitely invite all of you to do that. But let's go ahead and get back into some of these energies that are going on, starting with today, Sunday, the 18th. So we have Mercury in Libra opposite Jupiter in Aries today, and this is going to be influencing us over the course of the next few weeks. So given what I just talked about with these planets that are in retrograde, which Mercury and Jupiter both are, this opposition, the opposition between Mercury and Jupiter, illuminates our awareness, or brings our attention to, once again, what our bigger vision is for ourselves. So while we are in the midst of shifting and changing times over these next few weeks, we want to keep our sights set on what's going to support our bigger picture intentions, goals, and dreams in a positive, empowering way, and be aware of the tendency of not getting sucked into sort of urgently, hastily making decisions that are more lack consciousness based or fear based. Now, I do want to say, I'm going to skip ahead for a moment here. One of my favorite things that we have going on this week that I'm actually going to make a separate video about that I'm going to upload on Tuesday is that we have the fall equinox coming up on the 22nd, which is the day that the sun goes into the sign of Libra. So we've got some positive shifts happening with that. We're going to be in more, I took a sneak peek at the chart already for the fall equinox, and we're going to be moving into more of a cardinal energy influence. So in astrology, the signs are broken down into 3 categories of expression. So there's mutable, which means changeable, which we've got a big mutable energy going on right now, a lot of changeability. The fixed signs anchor in energy, and then the cardinal signs, which we're going to be moving into more when we have the fall equinox, is more of an energy of like initiating new cycles, initiating new momentums. So we do have that coming into the picture over the course of the next several weeks. However, those planets still are retrograde. So we really do need to just go with the flow of what we know we're intending. Choose based on what is opening for you with the conscious awareness of keeping what your bigger picture vision ideals are for yourselves. So also today we have the sun, which is in Virgo, coming into a positive trine aspect with Pluto, which is in Capricorn. So that's also today, Sunday the 18th, and it's going to be influencing us. Really, we can say this entire week. And the sun represents our self-expression. And Pluto, again, is transformation. So the sun in Virgo really wants us to optimize all things having to do with our self-expression. It's a time where we're naturally going to feel inspired to bring our lives, ourselves into more of a sense of organized order. And then Pluto in Capricorn inspires transformation in very physical ways. So we might, for example, feel inspired to literally do physical changes that are connected to our self-expression. We might want to rearrange our furniture or do a deep cleaning of our home. Doing a deep cleaning of your home or your workspace is always a good idea when we're at the beginning of a season change anyway, just to sort of herald out the old energy and welcome in the new energy. So with this trine aspect, it's a really constructive week to do those types of projects. We might feel like we want to do something different with our clothing style, our hairstyle. As we're coming into the change of seasons, it's okay getting out our fall clothes, things like that. On soul, deeper evolutionary soul levels, it inspires us to be all that we are, no holding back, being in our full radiance. And so the transformative quality of Pluto here enables us perhaps to shift out of energies that have been weighing us down or burdening us and getting back on track with more of what we consider to be our harmonious flow state. Okay, so let me take a look here. Tomorrow, which is Monday, we have Venus, which is also in Virgo, making a positive trine aspect to Uranus, which is in Taurus. So Venus also is about what we value, which, by the way, I hope you guys can all hear me. I'm in a plugged-in microphone. Hopefully it's working. So Venus in Virgo also wants us to optimize ourselves, our physical appearance, our physical environment in the way of optimizing our environments, ourselves in ways that support a deeper sense of self-love, a deeper sense of self-harmonization, and that trine to Uranus in Taurus can very well bring in unexpected developments, which could be in the way of ideas, epiphanies, of awareness. And so be aware of that as well. It's positive change. We maybe even can expect the unexpected circumstances, opportunities in matters having to do with relationships, love, harmony, all things connected to what we value. So those are the main astrological aspects that I wanted to talk about for what's going down this week. On the 22nd, as I said, we've got the sun moving into Libra, which coincides with the fall equinox day. So the sun in Libra is also a harmonizing, balancing type of energy. We all want to embrace peace and ease. We want to bring peace to all of our situations in life. We want to harmonize. And, if we look at the bigger picture of what we've been experiencing with all of this kind of energy being all over the place, with uprooting, change, almost too many pathways to consider, this Libra energy is going to begin to bring more of a sense of harmonization to all of that. And then with the fall equinox in general, like I said, I'm going to make a whole separate video about personal growth empowerment practices that we can do throughout the fall season, beginning with the equinox that's based on the astrology. But in general, fall is the time where we want to be in an energy of practicing gratitude for the blessings in our life. We want to be in a space of open receptivity and flow. Fall is a lot about flow, which enables us to sync up to, or really attuned to, the flow of what we've created and what we've generated for ourselves so far this year, in the realm of what our intentions have been, what we've been working towards experiencing, creating, discovering, exploring, or manifesting up to this point this year. Fall brings the full cycle return of whatever our efforts have been, however we've been expressing our energy, however we've been contributing our energy to the world, comes back to us now. So fall's not the time to continue to push for whatever we're intending to manifest. It's more of a time of being in relaxed awareness, or in a state of allowing, where you're just sort of syncing up to the energy that brings things into full manifestation. For those of you who have been following my channel, maybe you've heard me talk about this before. I'm like a really big fan of this myself, and I live my life this way, with the understanding that manifestation isn't so much an action or an activity as much as it is a state of being. It's an energetic state of being. We have to be in the energetic space that is aligned with, or a match to, what our intentions are in order for things to manifest. And this fall naturally supports us. Really, every fall equinox, every fall season naturally supports us in shifting into that energetic flow state of being. So I invite you all to really have some self-awareness, some consideration, some self-reflection around how that's showing up for you. In my life personally, fall always ends up being like a really transformative time for me, especially around Halloween, which is, really the beginning of Scorpio season, which I'm going to be offering some kind of bonus material on my channel here this fall for Scorpio season that's along the lines of healing modalities, because Scorpio season, for example, is a really good time to do shadow work. So we're going to delve into those things a little bit as we're coming into Scorpio season in about another month. And so, yeah, with that, the last two things I want to say about the astrology, and then I'm going to pick some cards for us, is that we do have on the 23rd, Mercury, which is still retrograde, moves into the sign of Virgo on the 23rd. I'm going to talk more about that in next week's episode. But Mercury in Virgo helps us to restore or get clear on like a pathway for ourselves as far as our ideas, our thoughts, our intentions are concerned. Right now, it's like we're in the realm of reviewing multiple considerations. But as Mercury goes into Virgo, things start coming into view. We feel a little bit more decisive, a little bit more clear about what feels aligned and the directions that we want to take. So overall, astrologically, this week, we want to be open. We want to be in a flow. We want to be in our lucid awareness, really being tapped into our intuition, being aware of how our intuition might be speaking to us in our dream time. Just take a sip of my tea here. And really just going with the flow. That's really the best use of the energy for this week. So I'm going to work with my Osho Zen Tarot today, and I'm going to select 3 cards. And we're going to just see what comes up. I'm working with this method of reading cards that you can do without actually doing like a full tarot spread. So I'm going to choose 3 cards, and we're going to look at, a deeper perspective on that collective level. What's the energy showing up? What's a good way or the best way to harness the power of the energy that's showing up? And what can be the benefits of that or the results of that? Okay, so let me give these cards a few shuffles here. And again, let me know in the comments if you like this live format and the opportunity for us to have live interaction, or if you prefer the pre-recorded format. Even if you can't join the lives, they're still on my channel when we're finished, so you can still review them throughout the week. Okay, let me just take a moment to tune in here, and I'm selecting 3 cards now. And let me see here. Okay, here's 1, 2, and 3. So let me see. Okay. So we have the playfulness energy coming up reversed. So I'm going to talk about that. Completion energy and aloneness energy coming up reversed. So if I'm looking at what's the energy, what's the way to harness it, and what's the result, I would say that the energy is literally kind of coming out of the dark right now. This aloneness card reversed makes me feel like it's like stepping into the energy of sharingness, which is connected to moving into Libra season and that Mercury retrograde in Libra. Libra is a lot about engaging with other people. And, being that this is the Osho Zen Tarot, the Osho deck, Osho has an amazing book called Love, Freedom, and Aloneness. And it's about cultivating the spiritual empowerment that comes from being good, being okay with your alone time and mastering that. And so my awareness of these teachings are coming up when I'm looking at this aloneness card. On one level, it's being in your empowerment with your aloneness, like not allowing it to shift into any type of depression or despair about being lonely, but really enjoying your own company and sharing that energy with others. The aloneness card coming up reversed for us today feels like it's connected with the right now energy in the way that we maybe all feel like we've been all kind of going through it in our own unique ways, where we're kind of having to walk our own path right now. But there's a lot of value in sharing our experiences with others, or just being present to lend our energetic support with others, having like a positive inter-supporting dynamic that comes through sharing with others, sharing friendliness, kindness, compassion, understanding, all of those heart-centered qualities. And how to work with the energy literally feels like it's letting yourself shift into your playfulness. Now, this card did show up reversed. So if I'm seeing this reversed, it can look like maybe not feeling totally connected to your playfulness, your playful spirit, feeling subdued along those lines. It could be understandable why that could happen, because we all have had a lot of uprooting going on, which isn't necessarily a big playful type of energy. But, remembering that when you intend to live in alignment with divine intent, and if you are a person who is what I call an evolutionary soul. A lot of you here are evolutionary souls, people who are literally sort of born with an innate commitment towards your own soul evolution for yourself and to contribute to supporting that in the collective. It's important for us to trust that even when we're experiencing the uncertainty that comes in the midst of change, which we're all certainly feeling that now, trusting the seeds of potential that come from really allowing and diving into the unknown, and being more in the energy of sort of excited anticipation rather than presuming difficulties, right? So being in our exuberance, being in our joy, being in our playfulness, letting go of anything that has felt like apprehensive energy that has been robbing you of enjoying life or being in your playfulness. That's the actual empowerment practice that we can do this week. Asking yourself, am I being in my playfulness, or am I allowing, all of the sort of shadow thinking energies to take over? Worries, fears, concerns, what ifs, all of that. Be in your joy, because being in our joy always aligns us cosmically with whatever our highest and best path is anyway. And then the result of that, boom, completion. Take a moment to reflect on this. What does this card mean to you when you see it? Completion. What's showing up for you in your life right now that contains the seeds of bringing you into a renewed sense of wholeness, integration, totality, completion? Literally, more than likely, there's cycles that have been connected to uncertainty and unknown elements of change that are literally being brought into completion. For example, if I'm talking about my flood office situation that's been going on for like 4 months now, It's resolving this week. Finally, it's resolving. So there's a feeling of completion coming into the picture there, right? So ask yourself, in what areas of my life have I been in need of, something coming into completion, something manifesting, so that I can move on to the next phase of my life. And this week, I'll say up through the rest of the month, actually up through the rest of September, things are sort of calibrating and coming into place. But we are this week experiencing some significant headways on that. So yeah, it feels like last few days of exhale, release, surrender, allow, be flexible, fluid in your lucidity, in your resilience, as we're preparing to kind of leap into this fall equinox energy, which is going to bring us into whole new realms of harmonization. I love fall. I can't wait to be diving into this season. So like I said, on Tuesday, I'm planning on Tuesday, I'm going to upload a video that specifically talks about the significance of the fall equinox and spiritual growth empowerment practices that we can do in alignment with those fall equinox energies to support our soul evolution, because that's what my work here is all about on this channel, supporting our soul evolution, looking at the astrology as a tool, working with our intuition as a tool for that as well. And then I'm also going to be uploading this week a pre-recorded video on the new moon. So what I'm intending, and you guys can give me feedback back on this, is continuing with weekly energy updates, perhaps in a live stream format like this, and then being able to buy myself a little bit of extra time for pre-recording additional materials. So having a pre-recorded video that's just for the full moon, just for the new moon, and then any other significant things we have going on, weaving in additional material on personal growth, spiritual awakening, intuitive development, healing, and all of that. So definitely contribute your input. I love your opinion, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. All my love, blessings, namaste. And as usual, I'm going to see you right around the corner in the next video. All my love.